But a Saturday night, and I ain't got nobody but y'all, because we all be family. How y'all doing? It's Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2 with all of this. And guess what, y'all? Oopa, oopa, bumpity doo. Brother Ron got a show for you. Okay. Like Dr. King said, human salvation lies in the creatively maladjusted. And like Tamika Mallory, I've been doing this a long time. I got the receipts. I've been doing it. See, y'all tripping because the sister says she's 40 years old. I'm 42. We born in 1980. We 80 babies. Conceived in the 7 days. I guess I was anyway. 80 babies. Been doing it for a long time. And so she said she's been doing this for 25 years. I could say I've been doing this for 30 years easily because volunteering is activism. Breaking news, volunteering is activism. When you spend your energy on anything, you create energy manifesting. So activism, volunteerism, anything that involves action is a form of activity, activism. So it's interesting to think about this right now and paradigm shifts. But like Dr. King said, he said, human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. I am proudly creatively maladjusted. I will never get used to a system that does not respect me, that demeans and dehumanizes and discourages me from being all that I ought to be. Not all that you can, or I should. I mean, all that I ought to be. Never that. Never laying down. So we're going to do a quick show to talk about some of the things going on in the news cycle. Got a show coming behind this show. Like I said, the best is always yet to come, and we all be news free Dixie for the 21st century. But let me do a quick house cleaning thing because I did the Aretha Franklin show about Ida B. Wells. As you know, March 25th was the 79th Life Affirmation Day anniversary of the one and only Queen Riri, the Queen of Soul, arguably the greatest voice of the 20th century. And that's saying a lot. Think about all the great singers that came through in the 20th century. Really left a mark on the world, product of the Black church and supporter of Black Lives Matter, because she was a big fundraiser for Dr. King. She really, daddy was a minister, Reverend C.L. Franklin, the $1 Million Voice. Mom was a gospel singer as well. So I wanted this added this. I didn't get a chance to add it. You know, I know I talk a long time and 2.5 hours. I didn't say all I want to say because really I just freestyle off the dome. It's like Biggie. You know, Biggie, he never wrote down. He just freestyle, right? He just freestyling out the dome. Jay-Z, they freestyle. So this is, I just do my little freestyle. I'm my own MC in my own right, doing my thing. Not only reclaiming the narrative, but this creating a narrative. I think we're coming in loud and clear. Let me just check the ones and twos. Check. Not only reclaiming it, yeah, loud and clear enough. Thank y'all for tuning in. Gonna do quick things. Yes, sir. Brother Dominic, it's been a wild weekend, but as long as you survive, like Biggie said, I got a story to tell. You know, as long as you can survive the weekend, you'll be good. All right, melanated creatrix. Yes, love. Thank you for coming in. And hello to you. Thank you for tuning in, not tuning out. Good evening, Pat. We love you, madly. We love all y'all guys and gals, madly, scholars, and the not so scholarly, the wokish and the sleepish, the people and the sheeple. We all are welcome in the house of we all be, because we all be in it to win it. So thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in and receiving what I got to offer. So let me talk about Queen Riri, and y'all should check out the Genius season that feature her story or aspect of her story. I know people got a problem with the lead, but you know, it is what it is. You know, just don't expect your enemies to put you always in the best light. You understand? You understand it. Never expect your enemies or people that mean you no goodwill to put you in the best light. But then it was interesting though. Really, your enemies and your haters are your best friends. They're your biggest supporters because they let you know when you actually slipping. Like your friends and family, they'll lie to you, but your enemies will be honest with you. So that's interesting to think about. Thank you. We love you madly. Knowledge is the currency of the universe, but you also need, money to pay them bills. And we're gonna talk about Tamika Mallory and some of her moves and what people going on. And we're gonna just I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try to get this down to about an hour because I got another show behind this. You want to stay tuned, and we got another show. Judge in the house, Judge in the house, Judge in the house, Judge Joe Brown will be in the house before the end of the night. We do the round midnight with Judge Joe Brown, Judge in the house. It might be a little interesting show, but I just want to make sure I get this out because it is March Madness for real, right? A lot of crazy stuff going on. So, and we're not going to cover it all in this episode, but like I said, there's so much stuff going on. I just wish I want to encourage new Black media to keep stepping up to not only counter the narrative, but to create your own narrative. Stop letting these white folks and these white media outlets and white first media define our reality. It's time for us to define our reality. You understand? So I want to share that picture. This is like, I didn't have my cap on that day, but it's after work. This is like about on Friday, 2 days after Aretha Franklin passed back in 2018. She was actually born in Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you, Millie. Millie. You got your t-shirts. I hope you enjoy them. I got my t-shirt on always. I'm ready for the round midnight show with the judge later on tonight. But thank y'all for supporting We love you madly. I know some of y'all been rocking with me for a long time. And thank y'all. Yeah. I love it. That's why Kobe was able to thrive. Your haters are your biggest fans, man. They the most consistent of your fans because they want to see you fail, but they also want to see you do your thing at a high level, which is weird. It's really like it's contradictory. But this is me back in August of 2018, paying my respects to the Queen of Soul, her birthplace in South Memphis, in the neighborhood known as Soulsville. Memphis is very unique. That's the place known as Soulsville. That's also the place where Stax Records was headquartered. All them hits came out of South Memphis. And also you had Lamar Owen College. You still got Lamar Owen College, historically Black college and university that was founded by the, I think, great-grandfather of JFK's best friend. Actually founded that HBCU. Most HBCUs were founded by white people, with the exception of Bethune-Cookman down in Florida. That was founded by the one and only Mary McLeod Bethune. That's her name, Mary Bethune McLeod, or Mary Bethune McLeod, I think that was her name. It's somewhere right there, but she's very interesting. But but most of the HBCUs were founded by white people. And in this neighborhood, this is not only the birthplace, like I said, of Aretha Franklin, but also Lamar Owen College. Guess who went there? Marion Barry, who went to school on the south side of Memphis, South Memphis. He went to Booker T. Washington High School that also produced Maurice White, the architect and visionary behind Earth, Wind, and Fire. Marion Barry went to the same high school, Booker T. Washington High School in South Memphis. Ended up going to Lamar Owen as an undergrad and almost finished getting his doctorate, I believe, either in chemistry or biology at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, but decided to leave school for the movement. So you talking about an activist that actually did things for the people. We got to really look at the legacy of Marion Barry, who was the first chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. One of Memphis, a son of Memphis, right? Memphis is amazing. So you got all this going on in this one neighborhood. Then I told you at the mother of gospel music, Lucy Campbell taught at Booker T. Washington High School for several decades. And she was the Jegna, if you want to say that, or you call mentor of Mahalia Jackson and Marian Anderson. And Dr. King's favorite singer, a guy named J. Robert Bradley, who was also from South Memphis. So this is where Aretha made her debut. And then also the People's Grocery Store was also in what is now known as South Memphis. Not that far from where Aretha was born. You know about the People's Grocery Store. You remember that I talked about March 9th being the 129th anniversary of the People's Grocery Store lynchings of Thomas Moss, Ida B. Wells, really, really close friend. She was the godmother of his daughter, as well as his business associates, Captain McDowell and Will Henry Stewart. So you got all this stuff in this one neighborhood. Not only that, the first all-black cast Hollywood movie was filmed in that same neighborhood. It's called Hallelujah. Check out Hallelujah. It's probably on YouTube. It's online somewhere, but that was the first all-black cast Hollywood movie. It was produced in Memphis, in that neighborhood where Aretha Franklin was born, right? It introduced the world to the first black Hollywood sex symbol, or one of the first black Hollywood sex symbols. This young, beautiful sister from the Carolinas named Nina Mae McKinney. Look up Nina Mae McKinney. She was before Halle Berry. She was before Dorothy Dandridge. She was before Lena Horne. Beautiful sister. She was like this. So in her late teens, I believe, when she got the starring role in Hallelujah. And it was filmed in Memphis and Arkansas. I think they shot some of the other scenes in California. So I actually interviewed a beautiful sister whose mother was a gospel singer in the movie, who was very prominent in Memphis black church life. And so I got that available on We All Be TV in this channel. Check it out. But yeah, Aretha Franklin was born in that neighborhood. It's called Soulsville for a reason. Not only that, not that far away from Aretha Franklin, not that far away from Stax. Also, you had the childhood home, I believe, of the one and only Memphis Slim, the great blues singer and pianist. His house was right near Stax, where he grew up in, right? The same neighborhood. And, you know, he ended up becoming a music hero over in Europe. He was a big music star in France, where he died. He's buried in Memphis, but he lived. I mean, a lot of black artists went over to France, in particular to Europe, because of all the racism and hell that was catching. And Memphis Slim was one of those expatriates. But he's buried back in Memphis, but he was a big star over in France and in Europe. But he, you know, and guess what? And that's not far away from there. You also have the childhood and family home of John Marshall Alexander Jr., known to the world as Johnny Ace, who was a fantastic singer. A lot of people believe he was the first rock and roll star. His home is still standing over there. I think it's still owned by this family. It should have a historic marker like Aretha's birthplace in that same neighborhood. Okay. Johnny Ace died real young. He shot himself in the head by accident. Some people believe it was foul play. On Christmas night, 1954, down in Houston, Texas, doing a concert in the city auditorium. You know, he was label mates with Big Mama Thornton. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. That Big Mama Thornton, right? They was on Duke Records, owned by Don Roby. Don Roby was like a mixture of Berry Gordy, Russell Simmons, Master P, and Suge Knight. And if you look at him, you couldn't tell he was a black man, but he was a black man. He claimed it. So, I mean, he was very prosperous music industry guy. But Johnny Ace died in 25 years young, right? But before he died, he made sure he bust his nut. And his granddaughter is none other than the wonderful, great R&B singer who just won her first Grammy after many years, Ledisi. So his legacy is Ledisi. So this is all. And then let me add one more thing, and I get to my point, and I go move on. Jimi Hendrix's best friend, Larry Lee, his family home is still in their neighborhood. Larry Lee was a baseball standout at Hamilton High School in South Memphis. He got a full ride, a baseball scholarship to Tennessee State University. But before that, he actually worked at Stax as a young man. I think he was a songwriter, did some things. Great guitar player. He met Jimi Hendrix in Nashville, and they became the best of friends. They started, you know, backing up people coming into Nashville. Nashville had a thriving black club scene back in the day. They had the New Era Club. So Jimi Hendrix, who just got the charge, he was just discharged for Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Was he part of the 101st Airborne? Let me make sure. He was at Fort Campbell. Jimi Hendrix was jumping out of planes for Uncle Sam. A lot of people don't know that he was a military guy. And it's kind of hard to believe that Jimi Hendrix was in the military, but who played the Star Spangled Banner like no other? It's like something about black people and patriotism. Because think about it. Have y'all ever heard Marvin Gaye's all-star rendition of the national anthem? Nobody does this stuff like but black people. Like James Brown, living in America, Or like Ray Charles, oh, Shay, can you see? He couldn't see shit. But black folks and patriotism in this country, and yet we are not respected like we should be in terms of our contributions to this land. This land is your land. No, it's not. It's eminent domain. Okay, see how it works. But I want to say it was 101st Airborne Jimi Hendrix was a part of in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And make sure I got it right, because y'all love to, people love to catch me in a lie, or they think it's a lie. Just looking up something. Yeah, he was 101st Airborne. I believe he got injured, so he ended up moving to Nashville. He met Larry Lee. So when Aretha Franklin or Curtis Mayfield and the Impressions and so many other groups would come into town, they would hire them as backup musicians, as gig musicians. So when Larry Lee got drafted by the Army, went to Vietnam, barely survived Vietnam, got a metal plate in his head, was also a victim of what is now known as Agent Orange, where the military was spraying the force with that, poisonous chemicals. It also sprayed, the military guys from us. So what they end up getting, they end up having their stuff messed up, right? And they pass on the dysfunction of their cells and DNA on to their families, on to their kids, so their grandkids, guys like Flint. Them kids drunk that contaminated water, got Legionnaire's disease. You can't cure that. So they pass on those diseases, disease to future generations. So he was a victim of Agent Orange. But before he left for the military, Larry Lee gave Jimi Hendrix his winter coat. And people don't know that Jimi Hendrix was homeless for like 6 weeks up in New York before he went over to England and changed the game. Jimi Hendrix is a very fascinating dude, right? Because he was trying out at a club in Greenwich Village up in New York. And Les Paul heard him. Les Paul is like one of the fathers of the modern guitar. He was a prolific musician, guitarist, recording musician, but also he innovated the guitar. He changed the game with guitars, right? Les Paul heard this man perform at that club, but he couldn't talk to him at that time. He had to go run some errands. So when he came back, the person at the club told him, he asked him, what happened to the guy? I want to sign him. And the person said, well, man, that guy was horrible. We got rid of him. That bum you talking about. So Les Paul could have quite possibly changed history right then if he was able to sign Jimi Hendrix up in New York. But Jimi Hendrix spent 6 weeks homeless in Manhattan, in New York. The only thing that kept him warm, from my understanding, was Larry Lee's winter jacket. And when Larry Lee returned from Vietnam, barely surviving, mental plate in his head, I believe, Jimmy called him up. He looked him up and said, hey, Larry, why don't you come gig with us, man? Let's play this place called Woodstock up in New York. You want to play Woodstock? So Larry Lee, after surviving Vietnam, went to play with Jimi Hendrix up at Woodstock. There are actual songs that he led on that he's actually the lead of, and playing guitar behind Jimmy as well. But I remember talking to his widow about maybe almost 9 years ago. I interviewed her. I released some of the interview on We All Be TV several years ago. I need to release all the interview and maybe do a follow-up with the sister. She'll say that Larry Lee was with Jimmy just days before he was found dead under suspect circumstances, right? And she said that Larry told her that it was a lot of weird people around Jimmy, in particular these weird white women that were like posing as gypsies. Now we know that, Jimi Hendrix's manager, who ended up controlling his estate at one point after he died, was Mike Jeffrey. Mike Jeffrey was British intelligence. He was MI6. And allegedly Mike Jeffrey died in a plane crash back in the 70s, but his body was never recovered. So we don't even know if he actually died. You know what I'm saying? But he was British intelligence. And we also know now that Jimi Hendrix was targeted by the government. They did target musicians. Think about Billie Holiday. They targeted John Lennon. They targeted anybody they were trying to, be people power. Because Jimi Hendrix was a big sponsor of the Black Panther Party. And the reason why we know this, because there was a documentary that came out in the 70s. They interviewed Jimi Hendrix muse, this beautiful brown-skinned sister, but she is weird. Any guy that she's like a black widow. I think she's still alive. I'm gonna have to find her. But this sister, she slept with everybody. She was with like Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was crazy about her. She lived up in New York, but I think she was from Georgia. And she was really best friends with Etta James as well. You probably found that information. There's articles about her that came out over the last several years. I don't know if she's still alive, because if she's still alive, she up there in age right now. But this woman been with not only Jimi Hendrix, but also Jackie Wilson, Sam Cooke, Little Willie John, and James Brown. And all them dudes died weird deaths. I'm not blaming her, but and even Sly. I think Sly is still alive. I used to think that he was dead. For some reason, I keep on thinking that Sly and the Family Stone has been dead for a while, but he's not dead. It's amazing that he's still alive. But if you think about it, the drugs that he so-called abused, they don't kill you per se. It's how they cut the drugs. It's how it kill you. Big Pharma, look at the drugs that people take that supposed to be legal. And how many people die from these drugs? How many recalls are on these drugs? But that's another story. But this woman went everybody, and all them guys died crazy deaths, including Jimi Hendrix. But there was a documentary came out that featured her back in the 70s, that featured Little Richard. Because Jimmy was with Little Richard, the Isley brothers, Sam Cooke. But people had a problem with him because he would be the background musician, but he was so charismatic, and the way he carried himself, the way he dressed, he wasn't meant to be no backup musician or singer or gig musician. He was meant to be a superstar. So it's crazy to think that Jimi Hendrix died at 27 years young, but his best friend was from Memphis named Larry Lee, who gave him that winter coat. He never forgot the favor that he did and looked out for his friend, and they did Woodstock. So, oh man, yeah. Damn, it's about 23 minutes already, Pat. But let me read something I wrote when I went to visit Aretha Franklin's birthplace. It was like a holy shrine. Because think about it, Memphis never gave Aretha the respect that she deserved. Like even that year was the year that the Memphis Music Hall of Fame decided to induct her into the Memphis Music Hall of Fame. It's an insult. It's an insult because when you first started your Memphis Music Hall of Fame, she should have been in the first year. Like she was the first year inductee of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I remember like Memphis was trying to bid to be the hometown of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And really, Memphis make a great case for that. I mean, you think about Memphis. I mean, come on. So much stuff go through here, but but people, this politics are weird in Memphis, but they decide to honor her after she's dead, right? In the same year. It's an insult. And then when they made the announcement to give her a brass note on Beale Street, they had nothing but white musicians playing. They didn't tell a lot of the black musicians that they was doing parade on Beale Street, like second line New Orleans style for Aretha. It's like white people, man. White folks make the decision on who get honored, who ain't getting honored. The fact that Johnny Ace don't got a brass note on Beale Street shows that Beale Street brass notes ain't really worth too much of anything. If you're not honoring the right people, you got folks on with brass notes. That's the equivalent to the star on a Hollywood Walk of Fame for us, right? They have a brass note on Beale Street. They got folks with brass notes that don't even got the resume. Y'all want to talk about Tamika Mallory? These folks don't got the resume to be honored, to be immortalized on Beale Street like that. But that's another story. They don't even got a brass note for Johnny Ace. But like the disrespect that Memphis has shown Aretha and her family, I can understand why she didn't really care to come back here. But this sister, she been on the property of Aretha's birthplace for years. And it was, she, I guess, did her best to pay taxes and all this stuff. And the upkeep ain't the best. I think people used to squat in the house and stuff like that. But now since Aretha passed, there's a lot of interest in the home. And I know they were talking during that time back in 2018 to move it from its current location to downtown or to this weird stuff to near the Stax Museum. Like, the Stax Museum is not the actual structure that houses Stax Records. They actually tore that down, but it's built on the same ground as the original Stax, which was known as Satellite Records when it first started some 60-something years ago. Founded by white people, a brother and sister founded Stax. Y'all think, it's black. No, it's a brother and sister who were white that founded Stax. I think the brother is still alive. James Stewart, I think that's his name. But I guess they wanted to move because they said it's a bad neighborhood. I said, why not build up the neighborhood? Because anywhere where black folks gather becomes valuable real estate. Anywhere where black people gather becomes valuable real estate. Whether it be prison, whether it be Seneca Village, aka Central Park, whether it be Georgetown, whether it be Harlem, whether it be Beale Street, Central Avenue, anywhere where there's black people, historically speaking, is valuable real estate. Think about Wall Street. One of the first things they traded on Wall Street was what? Black people. Were one of the first commodities traded on Wall Street. So with that said, let's read up a summation of what I wrote that day on that Friday. Now, so you know, August 16th is a Illuminati death date for American royalty in terms of cultural royalty. August 16th is the same death date of Robert Johnson, king of the Mississippi Delta Blues, age 27, August 16th, 1938. Then 10 years later, August 16th, 1948, the death of Babe Ruth, the Sultan of SWAT, king of baseball. Then also August 16th, look, the death of Aretha Franklin, the queen of soul. Coincidence? Also, August 16th was the death of Elvis Aaron Presley, king of rock and roll. Coincidence? And you see how a lot of these kings and queens got connections to the Mississippi Delta? That's interesting. But anyway, the read what I wrote, and then I'm going to move on. I wrote this on August 17th, 2018. So I think August 16th was a Thursday back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken, because it was a Friday back in 2018. So I said, today I went to the birthplace. Let me make this bigger than me. Yeah, focus on that. Today I went to the birthplace of Aretha Franklin, aka the Queen of Soul, in all places, Soulsville, USA, a culturally important neighborhood in Memphis, Tennessee. The neighborhood has produced amazing people and played witness to many historic events that have had a profound effect on America's cultural identity and national narrative. I would say that commentary for one of my books coming out soon. Aretha, a voice that truly only comes along once in a lifetime, made her earthly debut in an ordinary 1920s era clap house on March 25th, 1942 at 406 Lucy, a one-way street. This boarded up house, whose recent residents have been squatters and which miraculously survived a fire with its original structure intact, has now become a holy shrine to a Black August diva goddess. Already I have met folks from around the country, from Chicago to L.A., who have made the pilgrimage to pay their respects. I am not a church person, but I can feel that the site had the anointing of a sacred place. For example, although it was a hot-ass August summer day in Memphis, there were instances where gushes of wind came through and cooled the people off. People were very harmonious and loving towards each other. Aretha's music was streaming from a smartphone and amplified via a loudspeaker. Elders forgot that they were elders, put their walking canes to the side, and started dancing in the street, man. It was more a celebration of a life than it was a mourning of a death. I even met the owner of the house, Sister Vera Lee House. Her name was House, interesting, who raised her family in that house. She said Aretha visited her in her birthplace back in 1995 with several bodyguards. Y'all know I had to get a selfie with her. The house reminded me of what the Lorraine Hotel, aka MLK's crucifixion site, was back in the 80s. A place that had seen better days, but has a great and timeless story to tell. The house is a gold mine waiting to be discovered and exploited for the benefit of humanity. Hopefully, the beautiful soul people who kept the faith like Sister Vera will get their righteous universal compensation for doing so. Some word, man. Thanks, Aretha. Black August Days 2018. So, ta-da! And let's talk about what I want to talk about before I try to contact Judge Joe Brown. It is storming. It's a storming Saturday out there, man. Tornado warnings, watches, prayers and shout outs, amplified blessings to the good folks down in Alabama who, geoengineering. Yeah, climate change is real, all right. Geoengineering is real. Got HARP? Not ARP, but a HARP. We'll talk about that in a future show. But Memphis is amazing. But anyway, I want to talk about, because people talk about Tamika Mallory. Tamir Rice's mother came out and very hypercritical of the Black Lives Matter movement. BLM, Black Lesbian Mania, whatever it is. But she was very hypercritical of them exploiting Black pain, Black death, snuff porn for their own ends that don't benefit the people, just their people. So, you know, Tamika been on attack since she did that thing at the Grammys with Little Baby, The Bigger Picture. And, you know, here's the thing. Now, today, this is why I had to do a show before I did a show with the judge. Today is the 48th anniversary of the great actor. Some people think he's the greatest actor of all time, the greatest movie actor of all time. Marlon Brando canceled the Oscars 48 years ago today. That's right, boys and girls, scholars and laymen. Marlon Brando canceled the Oscars. I love it. This is crazy. What Marlon Brando did. And I'm gonna tell you about Marlon. A lot of y'all not hip to Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando is from Nebraska. I want to say Nebraska is one of them interesting places. A lot of amazing people come from Nebraska, black and white. It's like Mississippi in the Midwest. Like if you start studying, I want to get it right. I know y'all like to crucify me. If you write me emails talking about, "Oh, Brother Ron, you got this wrong because the white man book said this was what happened." You can't trust what's written in the book, man. You can't trust what people tell you, even though they might be primary sources. This is weird. Life is weird, man. Yeah, he's from Omaha, Nebraska. He was actually born the year before Malcolm X was born in Omaha, Nebraska. Malcolm and Marlon Brando are both from Omaha, Nebraska. Marlon Brando's mom was a prolific and well-known and respected acting coach or acting teacher. She actually taught Henry Fonda how to act. That's his mom. This Marlon Brando mom. Man, I think his mom taught. Well, let me just roll back. But Omaha, Nebraska, look it up. Produce some phenomenal, interesting, game-changing people. And now Marlon Brando is interesting because Marlon Brando has a track record for being a social justice warrior. Like, he's not just there in front of the camera. I have y'all understand that. Marlon Brando spoke at the March on Washington back in 1963. And it's interesting. It's on YouTube. It's a TV show where it showed that after post March on Washington, they had an all-star A-list panel discussion that included Marlon Brando, Charleston Heston, Mr. MRA, Mr. Moses. Not my pride the gun on my cold dead hands. A lot of people don't know that Charleston Heston was a very prominent supporter of the civil rights movement. So you had a TV show with Marlon Brando, Charleston Heston, I believe Paul Newman, Harry Belafonte, and James Baldwin, that was organized by Harry Belafonte's manager at the time, Jay Kennedy. We talked about Jay Kennedy. I think his name was Jay Kennedy, right? The guy who was MK Ultra, worked for the government, who was also the boyfriend of Elaine Brown. Yeah, the one that Judge recruited for UCLA. That Elaine Brown. Jay Kennedy was Harry Belafonte's manager at one point. So he organized that thing where they talked about civil rights after the march. So I think Sidney Poitier was on that panel too. I mean, it was an all-star panel. You know, it was. You can probably still find it on YouTube. I'm surprised Real Black hasn't uploaded to his channel. He seems like you use a repository for that type of stuff. I think I'm using the word repository correctly. But Marlon Brando goes back to even that. And also Marlon Brando was a big financial supporter of the Black Panther Party. He gave a lot of money and did fundraising for the Black Panther Party. This is Marlon Brando, the actor. On the waterfront dude, Godfather, that Marlon Brando, right? And now there's footage of Marlon Brando after they killed little Bobby Hutton. He spoke at a rally for the Panthers. And he mentioned Bobby Hutton. It's kind of like, it'll be the equivalent to like what Tupac did for Latasha Harlins. Because y'all, I mean, people be hating on Tupac, but I don't know no other rapper that shouted out Latasha Harlins on all these songs. He shouted little Robert Yummy Sandefur. Tupac was not just a rapper, man. That's why people don't, it's not about y'all keep on want to say, well, Biggie had a better flow. I mean, look, when I look at Tupac and Biggie, Tupac was that Delta blues artist. It wasn't about the technique, it was about, it's about the feeling. Biggie was like a jazz artist. Biggie was like Sonny Rollins or Cole. I mean, the way his flow. But that don't mean Tupac flow wasn't best or great. Tupac was a blues artist, like Muddy Waters or Howlin' Wolf. I mean, like his voice, the way he phrased things, Oh, you can even say hell, well, I won't say Miles, but let's get Biggie is more like jazz, Tupac more like blues. And they both great, you know. And I love all this Melly Mel stuff that's coming out. But I don't know any other rapper you could think of that actually shouted out Latasha Harlins multiple times on different songs. It had all type of anthems, but he never won a Grammy. But yet Jay-Z got about 23 Grammys. Get the, you know, y'all can't tell me who to like or love, you know. But anyway, Marlon Brando shouted out Bobby Hutton at a rally. It's on tape. They got it on film. I saw it in the documentary. And he gave a lot of money to the Panther Party. But also he supported the American Indian movement. You know, it was a thing, the siege at Wounded Knee that was taking place. Instead of him going to the Oscars, he went to Wounded Knee. But he sent a representative to the Oscars on his behalf. And this is better than any Tamika Mallory Grammy thing about Until Freedom. Now, Marlon Brando said, F that shit. I don't give a damn. I'm about to. I love this. Marlon Brando is great, man. I don't care what Quincy Jones got to say about that bullshit. Y'all be all into people's bedroom politics. And I'm gonna tell y'all another thing too. And y'all hear me well. I love James Baldwin, but there's a reason why he was able to live into his 60s. James Baldwin, all the stuff he said about white supremacy and racism, he was never a threat to white male masculinity or reproductive legacy. He was a homosexual man, allegedly. Now, I heard other stories, but I ain't going to talk about this on this show. But allegedly, he was a homosexual, openly gay black man. He was never a threat to white male masculinity. He was never a threat to white male reproductive power. That's why he was able to live in his 60s and Malcolm got killed at 39, okay? So think about what I'm saying. Think about what's going on with the Black Lives Movement. Who runs that movement? Who controls everything? So, you know, why is there no black men being uplifted in this time? We need black men to be empowered and uplifted so they can protect and provide for the community. It's a game. It's a joke. So now I'm not going to get mad. Like it's an old saying, don't hate the player, hate the game, player. You know, so no, they not, because like, look at Good Times, right? They ain't want a black father on Good Times, right? Esther Rolle, who used to do acting performances for Malcolm X's rallies. Before Malcolm X would speak at a rally up in New York and Harlem, whatever, he would have jazz musicians and other performers perform. People like Max Roach and his wife, Abby Lincoln, would perform. People like Esther Rolle would act. You know, Malcolm was friends with Lorraine Hansberry, who they were both born on May the 19th. He was close to Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte. These folks knew their place. They supported Malcolm behind the scenes. Lena Horne, they wasn't out in the front at the Oscars or Grammys talking about, yeah, no, they knew their place. Dick Gregory knew his place. He was a fundraiser. Medgar Evers was a general. He was a soldier. He supported Medgar. He didn't try to take his role and be the center of attention. He said, let me fundraise. Let me do what I can do. Let me lend my celebrity to amplify your cause. It wasn't about you leading the cause. It's about you amplifying your celebrities for the folks that need their voice to be heard, who've been marginalized and made invisible by this bullshit system. So we got it twisted when you out there putting these celebrities on pedestals when they were hired to be court jesters and distractors. So what the hell I'm talking about? Okay, Marlon Brando. I just lost my train of thought. I don't really give a damn. I'm just trying to. I don't want to talk about Derek Jackson. I don't got nothing about I don't really care about that shit. You know, I don't really care. I mean, I hope they work it out, him and his wife. But damn, y'all worry about stupid shit. You know, I see what Dick was talking about now to get older. Celebrities ain't shit. Y'all care too much about them. And trying to find something. Got a lot of these windows open. Trying to watch my time. I know y'all don't care about what I got to say. Y'all want to judge your Brown. People tell me to shut the fuck up. Say, if you're a grown man and had kids, got grandkids, you just need another grown man to tell you how to be a man. You lost. You a lost cause, my man. That's why black folks messed up right now, because we too busy looking for the next leader. Who gonna lead us, brother Ron? Lead yourself, fool. Man, I need somebody to tell me how to live. That's why black folks make the best soldiers, because you don't want somebody to tell you how to eat, sleep, and shit. We make the best prisoners and soldiers because we love somebody telling them when to eat, sleep, and shit, and think, and fight, and die. We scared be free. You know, when the Civil War ended, you had a lot of black folks that wanted to stay on the plantation because that's all they know. They're scared of freedom, because freedom, real freedom, is scary. There's no structure in real freedom. That's why I know people full of shit. You just want to be a slave by another name. You don't want no freedom, because freedom means you got no Social Security. Yeah, and right now they're killing folks so they won't have to pay out Social Security. So you really don't got shit, you know, truth be told. So I want Joe Brown to tell me how to be a man. I don't know how to be a man. I got balls and a dick, and I don't know how to be a man. I'm a male. Okay, I'm stop. But anyway, it's like that scene in Godfather, you know, when he met with Godfather met with Johnny Fontaine, who was based on I guess Tony Bennett and Frank Sinatra. And he was trying to tell the Godfather he wanted to get this Hollywood role, because it actually happened when Frank Sinatra wanted to make a comeback. And he wanted that role From Here to Eternity, I believe, that World War II movie based in Pearl Harbor, whatever, with Burt Lancaster. That's actually a good movie. Ernest Borgnine. He wanted that role, and the execs didn't want to give it to him. So I guess his Godfather made him an offer they couldn't refuse. But, you know, but Marlon Brando cared, be a man, be a man. He slapped him, be a man, be a man. I'm telling y'all, black men, be a man, damn it. You know, old man tell you what to do. You be a man. Shit. Okay, anyway, I want to show, it's Marlon Brando with the Native American activist. Her name is Sacheen Littlefeather. Sacheen Littlefeather. Okay, Sacheen or Sacheen, whatever. I don't care no more. Y'all look it up and y'all can tell me when I announce these names wrong, pronounce them wrong. I don't care. Sacheen Littlefeather is an Apache actress and activist for Native American rights. On March the 27th, March the 27th, 1973, she represented Marlon Brando at the 45th Academy Awards to decline the Best Actor Award for his performance in The Godfather. The favorite to win, Brando boycotted the ceremony in protest of Hollywood's portrayal of Native Americans and to draw attention to the standoff at Wounded Knee. During her speech, the audience response to Brando's boycotting was divided between jeers and applause. So I'm going to read what they allowed her to say, because he had a 4-page response. He knew he was going to win, because Marlon Brando was, you know, it's Marlon Brando. He like the Michael Jordan of what he did. You know, he set the bar. So he's like the GOAT. But he had a 4-page letter that he written, but they wouldn't let her read that. So she had to give a 60-second response, because they're going to cut her ass off. Then here's what she said. Okay, they said the Best Actor Award was presented by actors Liv Ullmann and Roger Moore. You know, he one of the James Bond guys, right? After giving brief remarks and announcing the 5 nominees, they declared Brando to be the winner. Littlefeather walked on stage and raised her hand to decline the Oscar trophy that Moore offered her. Deviating from the prepared speech, she said the following. Hello, my name is Sacheen Littlefeather. I'm Apache, and I am president of the National Native American Affirmative Image Committee. I'm representing Marlon Brando this evening, and he has asked me to tell you in a very long speech, which I cannot share with you presently because of time, but I will be glad to share with the press afterwards, that he very regretfully cannot accept this generous award, or very generous award. And the reasons for this being are the treatment of American Indians today by the film industry. Excuse me, they start booing and cheering at the same time. And on television and movie reruns, and also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee. I beg at this time that I have not intruded upon this evening, and that we will in the future, our hearts and our understandings will meet with love and generosity. Thank you on behalf of Marlon Brando. Wow. You hear that? And there was applause. And so the New York Times, I'm going to read his actual letter for posterity, because this is what we got to do. We got to educate. All this other stuff y'all talk about, you know, so-called got traded to the Brooklyn Nets. I don't give a damn about. And really, the Oscars is the only award show that I actually used to look at on a consistent basis. Because it showed me a lot. Because the Oscars will reveal to you the politics of the time. Because you can't convince me that Hurt Locker was a better movie than Avatar, but yet it won for Best Picture. And then the woman who did Hurt Locker was the ex-wife of James Cameron, who did Avatar and also Terminator and also Titanic. And now she's a lesbian. Man, the politics is real. It's always political, man. So later that night, before she announced the Best Actress winner, Raquel Welch, she's fine, said, "I hope the winner doesn't have a cause." When Clint Eastwood presented the Best Picture award, he remarked that he was presenting it on behalf of all the cowboys shot in John Ford westerns over the years. Now, John Wayne wanted to beat somebody's ass that night. Program, I'm kicking your ass, program. No, John Wayne was pissed off like an MF, because John Wayne made his legend off of these cowboy movies, right? That were degraded towards so-called Native Americans. Yeah, they're all political, man. I mean, Grammy's not. Tupac never won a Grammy. Come on, man. Tupac, all these anthems he wrote, all these greats. I mean, even the stuff they screwed up. Like, I wish, like, I've been listening to a lot of the OG mixes on Tupac songs that didn't come out when he was alive. I would prefer a lot of the OG stuff than over the stuff they try to remix, man. Like the stuff he did with Madonna. That shit is crazy, man. Tupac was great, man. Ain't gonna never be another Tupac. Like Melly Mel said, you ain't hear nobody say they want to be the next Biggie. You always hearing these rappers say they want to be the next Tupac. And who's the rapper they always turn down, these so-called young guns? It's Tupac, because he's the GOAT. It's about storytelling. People tell me, well, he can't. Tupac could rhyme, but Tupac understood he was a Panther. It wasn't about being all with the metaphors and bullshit. It was about what Brother Malcolm talked about, make it plain. He was trying to communicate messages to our people and to the world. It wasn't about, because like with Tupac, he let you know, I F your B, you fat MFer. Well, Biggie is like long kiss goodnight, where you doing all this, y'all shade him, who like LL Cool J, who shot y'all, but y'all not naming the names. Tupac against all odds on Machiavelli one. I mean, Tupac had several classic albums. I don't care what y'all say. And it's not just about rap albums. It's like it's up there. He got albums that could be up there with Kind of Blue, with Miles Davis. It's this shit he done. But like he was saying, Jimi Henchman and Haitian Jack. He wasn't saying, yeah, you got these New York MFers, Haitian MFers. Nah, he named their names. He said, I'll probably be killed for the shit that I said. I'll be a legend, breathing or dead. You can't tell, Tupac is bulletproof in life, man. I mean, death. He's bulletproof. But what I'm saying, whatever. But let me get back. Well, Marlon Brando wanted to be read at the Oscars, but was not read at the Oscars. I'm getting all excited and shit. I got another show behind this. I'm trying to make it as concise as possible. No, he is the best, man. And that's my opinion. It's bigger than rap. Rap is not it's bigger than hip hop. Tupac is iconic, man. He transcends rap and hip hop. It's not about rap and hip hop. You always say, like with Miles Davis. Miles Davis was not technically the greatest trumpet player. He was not the greatest trumpet player. I love Miles because it was about the feeling. If you read Miles' autobiography, he said he always was chasing that sound he heard in the woods of Arkansas of this black woman singing at a church in the woods of Arkansas, because Miles' folks is from Arkansas. His grandfather was an accountant for white people in Arkansas, on a whole bunch of land. And he took care of white people money. It's Arkansas. Arkansas is a mobbed up, lynch mob, gangster fucking state. I'm not going to talk about the history of Arkansas on this show. I've been talking about the history of Arkansas. For Miles Davis' grandfather to be an accountant during that time period and have land and be in charge of white folks' money, he was somebody exceptional. Because when Miles first went to New York and tried to find Charlie Parker, when he went to New York, he was going to Juilliard, but he wasn't interested in going to Juilliard. He was there to try to find Charlie Parker. It took Miles about almost half a year to find Charlie Parker in New York. And he asked the police officer when he got there, he said, "Where can I go to ride horses?" And the police officer like, "Well, nigga, you ride a horse?" I don't know what the police officer said, but I'm saying he looked at him crazy and said, Why is a dark dude, black dude like you? What you know about riding horses? You know, so you know, and Miles Davis' father owned a whole bunch of land in East St. Louis. He raised pigs. He was a dentist. And he was a political power broker. But Miles was not technically the greatest trumpet player. I mean, you got even in bebop, he couldn't play certain things that Dizzy Gillespie or Fess Navarro or Clifford Brown, Lee Morgan, but it wasn't about that. Miles is iconic. He transcends the goddamn jazz, so-called jazz music. There's a lot of folks that don't know about the trumpet greats like Lee Morgan and Clifford Brown and Booker Little and Fess Navarro and Freddie Webster, who was one of Miles's muses. Freddie Webster died young. He was a Jimmy Lunsford orchestra, but Miles loved Freddie Webster. But I'm thinking, who the hell are these people? Exactly. But if you know Miles is bigger than the jazz thing, man. He did fusion, Jack Johnson, Bitches Brew, Kinda Blue, The Birth of the Cool. I mean, he was trying to work with Jimi Hendrix. Hell, he worked with Pat Metheny, Chick Corea, who just died. So I mean, that Tupac is bigger than the rap and hip hop. And Melly Mel, check out what Melly Mel been saying about this bullshit. And Melly Mel, y'all people say, oh, he's bitter. He's not bitter. He's still down. He started calling rappers MCs. He's the blueprint for what is now known as the MC. No, I love Method Man, and Mary J. Blige. You all I need to get by and all that. But he did that shit with Shaka Khan. I feel for you, Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. You know, he set the blueprint for all that. The Message is the greatest hip-hop song of all time. It's the blueprint, not Sugar Hill Gang. There wasn't even real hip-hop. They were more disco. They stole that dance Notebook, man. They stole Grandmaster Cash. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if y'all don't know the history, just look at what Melly Mel be saying. It's refreshing to hear this elder talk the way he's talking. He could give two shits about what you think about it, because you can't, he's still a legend. So, no, man. Y'all get me off goddamn topic. I was cursing and stuff. Oh, you curse too much, Brother Ryan. Yeah. And guess what? You know, Cicely Tyson was married to Miles Davis by Andrew Young, who just had a birthday, in Bill Cosby home, who was a big patron of jazz and the black arts, right? So yeah, Gil Scott Heron. Another. I mean, we got our lights, man, but we got to start realizing that, man. They shouldn't have to die before they get recognition, because Tupac died at 25. If Miles died at 25, you wouldn't know who Miles was. He'd be like lost to history. Like, y'all don't know who Freddie Webster is or Fess Navarro. They'll be like that with Miles, because Miles was just a side man for Charlie Parker. And there's nothing. A lot of his greatness came until he was like in his 30s and 40s, man. So you gotta live long enough to be great a lot of time. And that's, you gotta live a little bit longer, man. Because a lot of Duke Ellington would not be famous and renowned. He'll be just a dude, man, if he died at 25. So what Tupac did, I know even with Nipsey, people trying to compare Tupac with Nipsey. Nipsey came out of Tupac, man. Even Nipsey Hussle would tell you that. Because I ain't listen to Nipsey like that. Now, his death was crazy when he died. I can remember where I was at when he kind of like with Tupac and Biggie, but shit, I'm not checking for Nipsey like that. Even today, with no disrespect to the dead, I don't listen to Nipsey. I listen to Tupac all the time. Even the messed up stuff they did with his songs, I still like. Tupac is just like, he's in that league with Marvin Gaye and Curtis Mayfield and Sam Cooke. Yeah, I said it. I said it. And I said what I said. But let me get back to the thing in hand so we could I got back-to-back shows. I'm gonna take some days off because like these shows be like sex, man. It's very intense for me. So I gotta hydrate or rehydrate and shit. I can't know why I don't do back-to-back shows, but I see a lot of folks, they doing shows all day long. And I be having shit to say, but sometimes I just want to keep it to myself because it just get me in trouble. So people don't understand, man. Shit. If they told my story, I'm gonna be one of those people that gonna be talked about when they dead. You're gonna talk about me because I did all this work and I know I don't get respect for it right now. That make you believe when I'm dead that I got all this pussy and getting blowjobs and getting all money if I don't tell my story from my perspective. So I'm telling my story. And people say, well, Ron, can I put your stuff on my website? No, I'm creating my own archives, man. Getting some of these shows remastered and shit when I get the refunds. And I mean, not refund. I ain't getting no refund. I mean, I get the resources. Let me read what Marlon Brando said, that he wanted read at the Oscars, but was not read. He was censored. But he canceled the Oscars because, you know, the Oscars are not bigger than Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando is a GOAT. Excuse me, I'm not drinking my water. I'm just looking at the time. The unfinished Oscar speech, or that unfinished Oscar speech by Marlon Brando. New York Times, they published this like 3 days after the Oscars. It was a big scandal, but I'm going to read this because I think it's important what he said, and think about how they treat black people or anybody that's not part of the so-called majority class of people. For 200 years, we have said to the Indian people who are fighting for their land, their life, their families, and their rights to be free, lay down your arms, my friends, and then we will remain together. Only if you lay down your arms, my friends, can we then talk of peace and come to an agreement which will be good for you. When they laid down their arms, we murdered them. We lied to them. We cheated them out of their lands. We starved them into signing fraudulent agreements that we called treaties, which we never kept. We turned them into beggars on a continent that gave life for as long as life can remember. And by any interpretation of history, however twisted, we did not do right. We were not lawful, nor were we just in what we did. For them, we do not have to restore these people. We do not have to live up to some agreements, because it is given to us by virtue of our power to attack the rights of others, to take their property, to take their lives when they are trying to defend their land and liberty, and to make their virtues a crime and our own vices virtues. But there is one thing which is beyond the reach of this perversity, and that is the tremendous verdict of history. And history will surely judge us. But do we care? What kind of moral schizophrenia is it that allows us to shout at the top of our national voice for all the world to hear that we live up to our commitment, when every page of history and when all the thirsty, starving, humiliating days and nights of the last 100 years in the lives of the American Indian contradict that voice? It would seem that the respect for principle and the love of one's neighbor have become dysfunctional in this country of ours, and that all we have done, all that we have succeeded in accomplishing with our power, is simply annihilating the hopes of the newborn countries in this world, as well as friends and enemies alike, that we're not human or humane, and that we do not live up to our agreements. Perhaps at this moment you are saying to yourself, what the hell has all this got to do with the Academy Awards? Why is this woman standing up here, ruining our evening, invading our lives with things that don't concern us and that we don't care about, wasting our time and money and introducing in our homes, or intruding rather in our homes? I think the answer to those unspoken questions is that the motion picture community has been as responsible as any for degrading the Indian and making a mockery of his character, describing his as savage, hostile, and evil. It's hard enough for children to grow up in this world. When Indian children watch television and they watch films, and when they see their race depicted as they are in films, their minds become injured in ways we can never know. Recently, there has been a few faltering steps to correct this situation, but too faltering and too few. So I, as a member in this profession, do not feel that I can, as a citizen of the United States, accept an award here tonight. I think awards in this country at this time are inappropriate to be received or given until the condition of the American Indian is drastically altered. If we are not our brother's keeper, at least let us not be his executioner. Let me read that part once again. If we are not our brother's keeper, at least let us not be his executioner. I would have been here tonight to speak to you directly, but I felt that perhaps I could be of better use if I went to Wounded Knee to keep or to help forestall in whatever way I can the establishment of a peace which will be dishonorable as long as the rivers shall run and the grass shall grow. I will hope that those who are listening would not look upon this as a rude intrusion, but as an earnest effort to focus attention on an issue that might very well determine whether or not this country has the right to say from this point forward, we believe in the inalienable rights of all people to remain free and independent on lands that have supported their life beyond living memory. Thank you for your kindness and your courtesy to Miss Littlefeather. Thank you and good night. That's a G. That's how you do that. That's how you do that. That's how you utilize a platform to get out an important message. Marlon Brando did that, and he sacrificed for that. It hurt his standing in his industry, even though he was a titan. Okay, Marlon, okay. Like I said, and he been messing with the Native Americans since the 50s, though. No, Marlon Brando ain't no guy that is going for the likes, and they didn't have no social media back then. He was depending on the networks to broadcast that information on the fake news media. The New York Times did print that in its entirety. But when I got have y'all understand, don't confuse the woke activism that people are charading around in as what a lot of these other folks have done from that generation. He's of the generation of the Dick Gregorys and the Sidney Poitiers and Harry Belafontes, my cousin Julian Mayfield. These were G's, man. These were artists that were saying things that sacrificed their careers to say the thing. Like Eartha Kitt, even Eartha Kitt went to the White House and told Lady Bird, y'all full of shit. And they counseled Eartha Kitt for years in America. They counseled Eartha Kitt, Nina Simone. So we don't got people like that no more. So stop putting these folks on goddamn pedestals. I don't hate them for being celebrities and court justice and trying to get a blue check and a paycheck. I don't care. Because we're not going to get free by being on the Grammys in prime time doing rap collaborations. It ain't happening. Never will, never had. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I salute Marlon Brando. I don't care what Quincy Jones, or whatever. But I salute a G. I don't care what you think about Marlon Brando, his sexual preferences. Look, man, he stood up for not only Native America, but just for the right things for black people. For everybody. He didn't have to do that as a white man. He didn't have to do that. But he utilized his status to help other folks. And, it comes to remind me last year when LeBron James was saying, I'm afraid. Black men afraid, black women afraid, black children afraid. Nigga, I ain't afraid. And you got all the money. You a big, strong black man with money and resources. You afraid? Man, you couldn't stand next to Muhammad Ali because you afraid. I'm talking about Muhammad in his prime. Like Jim Brown and Bill Russell and all them guys did. Man, we need black manhood to stand up and be erect right now. Because our black women they can't. Man, so deep, man, so deep. But yeah, God bless Marlon Brando. And he went through a lot of hell and all that stuff. Dysfunction in his family. And I might talk about it in one of my Nobody Dies of Natural Death in Show Business shows in the near future. But, oh, my God, this is crazy. This is crazy. It is. But salute to that. Y'all can look all that up online, but it happened 48 years ago this night that Marlon Brando did that. Pissed out a whole bunch of white people. But people like Tamika Mallory, I saw the Cadillac commercial. What do you expect? I mean, I don't have no expectations of Tamika on anybody right now because you got to save yourself. Y'all keep on looking for folks to save y'all. You are responsible as your own entity, your corporation, your organization. You as me, myself, and I, nobody's responsible for saving you but you. Now, if you're a parent with little kids, you are responsible for their welfare, but at a certain point, they got to be responsible for themselves. Now, people, they criticize Tamika for taking the bag or the Cadillac thing. I have no problem with it. I'm going to tell you why. Because y'all taking the bag too. Everybody's a coon. Yeah, I said it. Everybody, y'all keep on talking about this coon. Hey, if we still okay with being in this system, then we all coons. If you ain't free, nobody free. We ain't free. We not free. We still coons. Because liberation means you ain't gonna let these folks force you to do something that's not in your best interest. And you ain't gonna let these folks violate you without some consequences and repercussions. We never should have said, justice or else. It's a joke. That was like almost 6 years ago. Black folks still dying and catching hell. So that means your word ain't your bond. You ain't serious about it. You ain't about it. So no, I can't call nobody no coon. I can't criticize a person for taking them bad because everybody gotta make a living. Because y'all weird and y'all keep on looking for somebody to tell y'all, well, this is how you handle females, or this is how you handle men. Why don't you handle yourself first and understand who you are, understand who you are? Then you know how to stand as a man. Then you know how to stand as a woman. You can stand on something. Because a lot of y'all looking to run with a clique. Oh man, I'm so lonely. I don't have nobody to listen to me. I'm so lonely. Nigga, it's lonely when you stand on truth. Nigga, it's a lot of vacancies when you're in the room of truth. Nobody want to be alone. It's a lonely existence. And I ain't talking about 2 + 2 is 4 necessarily. That's a fact. I'm talking about standing on truth, something that you feel, that you know and feel, and that you willing to put your life on the line for, your reputation on the line for. Ain't too many people doing that. That's why we can't get free. Because a lot of folks are afraid, and fear is a hell of a drug. Fear runs a lot of people. Not truth, not justice, fear. I don't want to die alone. Everybody die alone. Hell. How many people do you want to go with you when you die? Oh, I see you out, mom, grandma, mama, my dear. I love you, but I can't go with you right now, my dear. No, sorry. Man, I love you, but I'm not going to die with you, my dear. Like Dr. King, we love you, but we can't die with you, Dr. King. Who going to be with me on the balcony? Who going to take a bullet with me on the balcony? What Tupac said? It's not funny. You don't have to worry. You can ride with me now. No, Pop. We ain't riding with you now. But anyway, think about it. So with Tamika, I remember people criticize her. I'm not gonna get into breakdown a commercial. Just watch it for yourself. It's interesting that Goldman Sachs just said they're gonna invest $10 billion to black women, and Cadillac that I guess the audacity of blackness. Now somebody say they might have saw a trans or strong face looking black woman in that commercial. Yeah, because where are the black men? Why are black women okay with black men not being encouraged to be men? Majority of y'all. Why y'all okay with that? It's all about black girl magic. That has not been working out for us for the last 60 years, 50 years. Black girl magic has not been working out for the majority of black people. Because if you, where I'm at, I feel like I'm an ugly, women treat me like I'm an ugly duckling. You know what I'm saying? I'm just the ugliest, fattest nigga in the world. And I'm the stupidest nigga. No, it's weird. But yeah, I look at even the educated females, they go for the thuggish nigga. They go for a nigga that disrespect them. And they supposed to be educated. No, you indoctrinate. You're not educated. But what I'm saying is, we ain't going to make it as a people if the black man can't be men. You ain't going to make it by yourself, woman. Because you ain't free either. Nobody's free. But I never seen a group that let their man be disrespected like this. And you raise the boys into men. You have a part in that. You help select a mate. You help raise and nurture these folks, so don't nurture them, and we get what we get now. But we ain't gonna be free unless the black man could be man and could fight and stand on something. And they've been doing a hit job on us for the last 50-something years. Where are the strong black men leaders? He talking about anti-Asian racism. Where are the black leaders that gonna stand up against anti-black racism? Where are they at in politics, in the fields of entertainment? All these people that's bending over, getting blue checked in the ass. I'm tired of it. Now, like I said, I have no beef with Tamika taking the bed because I'm 40 years old like her. We were both born in 1980. Allegedly, she was born, depending on your source, she was either born June the 8th, 1980 or September 4th, 1980, something like that. But we all both were born in 80. And I've been activism, doing this work, and I've been doing this for like 30 years. I can say that because volunteering is activism. Any action is activism. You advocating, whatever. So I used to go feed the homeless, soup kitchens. When my mama did the Civil Rights Museum, the National Civil Rights Museum as a volunteer tour guide, I became a volunteer tour guide at 12 years old, leading people on tours to the Civil Rights Museum. My mom actually organized the volunteers for Alex Haley's homegoing. See, my mama is a volunteer. The reason why y'all get anything from me is because that black woman. All right. She taught me the value of giving back, of knowledge, the importance of knowledge, and sharing what you know with the masses and doing good by people. So I get that from my mom. So you lucky because I'm just saying, because I would have did it different if I could go back in time. Because I'll be a billionaire right now. I'll be a billionaire if I can just do it differently. And I'm being honest with you. But I've been doing this for 30 years. All right. But I would say this, I started really focusing on as a career path when I was in college. So I've been doing it for this year will be 21 years. And I'm gonna give you the receipt on that. And let me find. Life is interesting. Yeah, but I advocate for myself. I'm so used to being by myself. I've been bullied by individuals and institutions all my life. So you don't scare me, motherfucker. So I ain't afraid to be alone. Oh, woe is me. Oh, nobody loves me. I'll be here like, I hate that bitch. I love my life. You're my JoJo Brown and you Negroes. I'm gonna tell you something. It's my show. Judge is a guest. I love and respect the judge, but you ain't gonna tell me how to run my goddamn mouth for interviews, nigga. You go to somebody else, YouTube and all that shit, and look at some Judge Joe Brown. Father, I give a damn. I've been the one that started that trend. I'm like Little Richard. I invented the trend. Whoo! Tutti frutti, nigga. Shit. Tell me what to do, Judge. I'm just silly. I don't know what to do, Judge. I'm at a loss. I don't know how to be a man, Judge. That's how some of y'all be sounding. I'm gonna be nice. Let me find. Oh, it's crazy out here, man. But yeah, let's be a man. Stop letting these folks. I mean, I'm not gonna chase women no more, man. I'm through with it. I'm tired. They could chase me now. Tired of it. I love women, but just gonna let y'all chase me. But I'm trying to find get my receipts in order. Oh, that's how you do it. You learn something new every day. Trying to find something. Yep, but like the birds, words from Brother Heard. Spread the word. I could pop it up here. I'm not working. Let me see. I want to see my receipts, but like when people talk about, and she says she's been doing this for 25 years, because she started at the age of 15. She's a product of a National Action Network and Al Sharpton. You got to think about, her. She's good. She's very media savvy. Think about who basically made Al Sharpton besides the FBI and the Genovese crime family. His Jegna was James Brown, the King of Soul. I mean, the Godfather of Soul. So Al Sharpton was a preaching prodigy, and also he was a product of show business. So I mean, she's a product of Al Sharpton. She's like Al Sharpton net 2.0 or whatever. She's an improvement on the model because she's very well spoken and she can handle herself with the media and whatever like that. So she's a product. Like we all products of something, right? We are all products. So I mean, don't hate the player, hate the game. That's why we telling people it's not about the players, it's about the game. Learn how to play this game. You want to be in that position. But I don't. They're not gonna put no real person saying real stuff in prime time in this system to free the minds of the people, man. If that's the case, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing would have had tenureship at Howard University instead of paying out her pocket to hold classes on the campus. You know, if that's the case, you know, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois would have had a tenureship at Harvard University before somebody like Cornel West. You know, no disrespect to Cornell, but they didn't give no damn Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois tenure at Harvard University. I mean, our people, man. It's weird out here. It is strange. But I just want to provide my receipts. I don't even know if I talked about everything I want to talk about, but you know, let's get the judge in the house. That would trip me out. Looking at an interview about Robert Greene, the dude that wrote the 48 Laws of Power. It's a book you should read. He's talking about how you got to embrace your dark side. And I love my dark side. I'm not here to be no moral leader for you all. I'm here. I'm on the only leader I could be a morality for is me. Your moral compass is your morality. If you don't have a moral compass, you don't have no code, no bylaws to your entity, to your organization, that's on you. Good night and good luck. Shit. Let me see something. Okay, we share. That's me. Now, that's a newspaper article that came out the week of my 20th birthday in college. This is back in 2000. So I was 19 in that photo. And it was like part of the St. Louis American. That's the newspaper up in St. Louis. It was black owned at one point. I don't know if it's still black owned, but that was known as the Black newspaper. It was a weekly newspaper, or is a weekly newspaper still in St. Louis. I went to Washington University in St. Louis. So what I was doing, the reason I started getting notoriety because my freshman year, I think it was my freshman year, or maybe it was my sophomore year. I started selling my artwork on campus. Like I'll make prints of my artwork and sell it in the student center. And I would take my boom box and play all this jazz and blues to attract attention to me selling my work in front of the cafeteria. And so I actually started getting people that worked at the school start buying my artwork, you know, professors and administrators. And they started hanging it in their offices, and they'll start telling their friends about what I was doing. So I had a little following. So one of the people that invested in me early, her boyfriend, she was a professor, and she's still a professor now, but she left and came back, and she's married to another man. But she got her boyfriend, who worked at the St. Louis American at the time, to do a story on me. So they came to my campus, to my room, to my dorm room to interview me and to take pictures with me with my artwork. Now that artwork I got my arm on, resting on, I call that bird in flight, because I really started getting into jazz and blues at WashU. And I sold that to a white woman like $1,500. I had that at a show in St. Louis. I was out of town for the Christmas break. And the gallery contacted me at home, let me know, hey, you know, there's somebody interested in buying your work. There's a young white lady, and it was gonna be her first art purchase. And guess what? She was in town at the Peabody, staying in town with her family. So I actually met this white lady and her family at the Peabody. And I guess it was like her first important artwork that she was gonna buy to start her collection. So I guess I passed the interview, and they paid the $1,500. And I remember when I had told people how much that I was gonna sell that for, people thought I was crazy. My roommate said, "You want $1,500? Really?" And guess what? It happened. And I wish I kept that same type of mindset that I had 20-something years ago. I'll be really further along. Don't trust people. Learn how to trust yourself. Trust your instincts. Even when you make a mistake and you try to do it in your best interest, it kind of have a way of playing out in your favor if you could discern the opportunity in the mistake. So I was on my path, booking art shows on my own. But I'm gonna read this article. But like I said, I've been doing this. I'm gonna say this year will be the 21st year of me actually being an artivist, claiming that title and pushing it forth by any means necessary through my art, through podcasting, through just organizing events in the community. But I'm gonna read this article, and then think I'm gonna close out the show. I said what I want to say for the most part. I am an angry black man, but not an anger where I want to be loved and accepted by white people. It's a more of a righteous anger where I want to be able to create a manifest on my own terms and don't worry about what people got to think about me or try to assign value to my life. I do that on my own terms. So I'm gonna read this article and then I'm gonna close this out and know that the best is yet to come. Shit. Oh, man, long day. Even though the time got sped up, it's kind of slowed down for me, which is interesting. Let me read this. Herd mentality. Ron Hurd doesn't follow the crowd with his unique artwork by Donkor Imani, American entertainment editor for the St. Louis American. This is of the week of April the 20th through the 26th, 2000. So my birthday coming up on April 23rd. And it was a series called St. Louis Homies. Even though I'm from Memphis, St. Louis is one of my favorite places. Like this 4 hours up the Lazy River, 4 hours away, baby. Maybe about almost 4.5 hours. Okay, let me read the article. My approach to art is simple, said Ron Hurd, a 19-year-old sophomore art student at Washington University by the way of Memphis, Tennessee. I try to make art from an African-American perspective. You might find numerous images in my work which are related to the journey of African Americans from their native land. Hurd's own trek to becoming one of the best art students on the WashU campus began at age 2, that age when most kids like to draw on the walls. Of course, nowadays he draws within the lines on small and large boards in a style heavily influenced by music. Hurd realizes that may sound avant-garde, but the rhythms of music are what move and inspire him. Not that he doesn't draw from, say, the lines of Picasso or the rough-hewn historical aspects of West African art, or a guy like Charles White who has powerful images, because he does, but the connection with music is a special relationship. Duke Ellington is one of my major influences, and I feel that my artwork shares a close affinity with jazz. I grew up around Beale Street, and I feel at one with jazz and blues musicians, Hurd said. Like a jazz musician, I think of myself as a well-skilled improviser with an unlimited imagination. Just my imagination running away with me. Yeah. It was just my imagination. It needs to be unlimited, for this is a brother who thinks about art at least 20 hours a day. The other 4 he uses for sleep. Hurd, who's at WashU on a John B. Irving scholarship, also continues to wrestle with his thoughts about the applicability of art classes. The classes have a place in the life of an artist, but sometimes he's at odds with creative direction. Sometimes they may call my work too black, he said, amused that it would be called anything else. It's like they may feel my work is angry or radical. I'm just creating what I feel, but I guess I don't really mind if people say that, because it's okay to be angry sometimes. In looking at Hurd's work, it's obvious that he experienced a wide range of emotions, including sadness. It's like Charlie Parker said, you got to go through the blues to arrive. I found that patience pays off. Of course, it doesn't have to be Hurd's own blues. He looks at the big picture to convey the feelings of a race of black people. All African Americans have a story just waiting to be told. They need to be on our own terms, he said. I guess my art is a testimony or testimonial on how great it is to be colored. That's simple enough. Okay. So that's part of my story. And I'm going to keep on telling my story as I get older, because nobody ain't going to tell my story but me, the way it should be told. And I remember when I was at school, it was a very traumatizing experience going to what they call predominantly white institution. Nobody gets you prepared for that shock, how they treat you. I know I was in the art school at WashU. The professors and other people that work at the art school, they had a nickname for me. They used to call me Mr. Unteachable. And these were folks I never had classes from, but I had a reputation. And I was not I say hello to people and all that, but because they couldn't understand how I had my own voice already. They thought they gonna tell me how to be me, right? And they tried to make me feel bad for being myself, for having my own style. Because how can you have a style? Because I've been through shit. That's why I have a style, because you got something to say. Like Tupac, anybody, it's not about you got to be the best technique. It's about, do you have shit to say? Because everything is based on storytelling. And I always had shit to say. And people been trying to stop me from saying shit ever since I got here. I had speaking problems. I had to go to speech therapy for years. So this ain't nothing new. So I was meant to be here to deliver these goddamn messages by any means fucking necessary. That's why I gotta say. So when people say, well, you can't be an activist for 25 years. See, I've been activism for most of my life, be honest with you. I just didn't know that. Because then if you're a black person and you dare to be yourself, you better be an activist. You better be an advocate for you. So yeah, I'm gonna name my autobiography, my memoir. I come out gonna be Mr. Unteachable. But these white folks tell me, yeah, man, you call you Mr. Unteachable. I said, damn, I never took a class from you. And then we have a good conversation in the hallway. You're not that bad. No shit. Never was bad, but y'all want to make me feel like there's something wrong with me. It's like right now, a lot of people think something wrong with me because I tell the truth. And like, people, oh, brother Ron, you was right. I said, nigga, I was right 20 years ago. Y'all just catching up. See, I may be 40, going on 41. You may be in your 30s, but brother, I've been doing this longer than you. I've been doing this before Dick Gregory. And it's in my blood. Now I have relatives that have been doing this. And they passed on to glory, but I didn't know that when I was growing up. So anyway, shut it down. Thank you all. Thank you, Sister Teresa Walker. We love you madly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, r2c2h2.com. That's my website. I got to put more stuff out there. I'm just a one-man movement, man. People think I got, I talk to people say, so you got researchers? I don't got no researchers, man. It's just me doing this. That's why they're like, I don't know. I want to do a show. Then I do the show and I can't stop talking. I'm the one who was traveling around the country. Nobody ain't traveling with me around the country. That's me, my own expenses doing it. I don't got no Cadillac. And they not sponsoring me. But if they want to sponsor me do my work, I would take the bag. Yes, I would. Because it's weird that people think, oh, Brother Ron's an agent. Nigga, I'm an agent. When I've been doing this for years, I'm not even rich. If I'm an agent, I should be wealthy right now. I live in government housing, nigga. How am I an agent? Niggas crazy. They weird. Nigga, I got a car that I hope it will crank. Been dealing with that for 3 years. I hope they're not getting this motherfucker gonna crank over. It's like a woman. Don't want to give me nothing. I don't know. Not today, Ron. Okay, you just get this from somewhere else. That's how women be treating me. You know what I'm saying? If I don't tell my story, people think I like this shit. The paraphrase Zordell Hurston, if you remain silent, they don't think you loved it. Don't like this, how I'm being treated by my own people. I should be one of the elites of Memphis. I'm not. I'm in a town that don't even know I exist. And by outside the town, people know who I am. It's weird. But anyway, I can't even find a woman to talk to on my level in my town. I'm not a hermit. I be out there circling. But then it's women across the country. I can't even reach. It's bullshit. So, yeah, you got to have sense of humor about this bullshit. I'm gonna get y'all the black and white painting. Oh, you talking about the jailbird painting? Like Just Us? I did that in college, but I got a lot to say, man. I just trying to figure out ways to say it, But stop looking to these celebrities like they gonna save you. They can't even save themselves. They can't even save themselves from the IRS. Shit, the IRS took People Bryson's Grammy, didn't it? Shit. What the feds did to Joe Louis. How they gonna save you? They can't save themselves. I'm just saying. Sammy Davis Jr., I gotta be me. You got a tax lien. You got a tax lien. Cause you gotta be me. Okay. I don't thank everybody for donations. We'll check it in. Let's see. People write me email. So I want to thank everybody who's been contributing, supportive, sending in donations, texts of support, emails, phone calls, all that good stuff. And I'll try to do my best to keep on pushing and producing I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Sister Teresa. We love you madly. Yeah, I just like, you got to rant. This is like therapy for me. But I'm really concerned when Black folks, we don't take ourselves seriously when we more concerned about Derrick Jackson and his wife than we are about reparations and about us taking care of each other, ending police terrorism. But no, I mean, Tamika, I understand what she, I mean, like, we don't have real institutions look out for us. It would be nice if we do activism that we actually work towards manifesting spaces where it really represent us as people that put our priorities first. We don't have that right now. Because we had that right now. You would have Black leaders pushing back on the so-called anti-Asian racism, like we the proponents of that, and we're not. We actually been exploited by the Asians, and they know it. You know, Black folks, stop calling it a community. Dick Gregory told y'all it's not a community when you don't control your police, your education, or your food. If we had a Black community, there'll be no Asians in our community making money off of us without our consent. They'll have to pay a tax. It's like you look at them gangster movies. You know, they control the neighborhood. All the business vendors had to pay a tax, a protection tax. When folks can come into your neighborhood and not pay you no mind and take your money and disrespect you, you got no community, you got a neighborhood. Because like if you could fight in a war and Uncle Sam could let the same folks that they told you in the military that were your enemies be your bosses, then nah, you don't have no community. So we gotta understand what's going on here. And it's not about hate, because racism ain't really about hate, it's about power. You know, white supremacy could be about hate. That's a religion thing. You know, but racism, who's ever in power could be the racist. And Black folks don't run this system that we pay taxes to. So with that said, thank you all. I'm gonna move on. Judge in the house. Thank y'all. We're gonna manifest that. A lot of women don't know how to cook, man. I mean, I can cook, but a lot of women think it's all about the whop. No, give me a Whopper instead. Then I ain't gonna get it. This is not the show for that. Show enough power. It's all about power. Thank y'all. I ain't gonna be able to read everything. But I thank y'all for tuning in and turning it out with me. And I'm trying to get the judge on as soon as possible. So I shut this down. So thank y'all. Like the words from the artivist, please subscribe. Tell your friends. YouTube, We All BTV. PayPal, your support. You can cash app it, $R2C2H2. PayPal, Google Pay, Venmo, R2C2H2 at gmail.com. You can Zelle your support at R2C2H2. You can buy Artivist art at R2C2H2.com. You can actually wear Artivist art. I got more. I got a lot. I got like notebooks full of sketchbooks and stuff full of art. Got a garage full of art, an extra room full of art. That's why I say I want people that, when I die, it'll be worth something. They'll talk about me. I said, if I'm able to access this, like, damn, who are they talking about? That wasn't my fucking life when I was living. I don't remember like that. I remember every day being a struggle, but you could choose how you struggle. It could be horrible or it could be beautiful. It could be righteous, or it could be in vain. It's up to you. Your life is your movie. So thank y'all for tuning in, for being patient. Back-to-back shows, like, back-to-back like Drake. But thank y'all once again. Words, the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Y'all keep on producing and pushing. And the best is yet to still come. Hold on and be strong.